How do they not know this by now?
Why are white people dangerous?
That's presupposing that white people are dangerous.
So you don't know that they're dangerous?
Can you provide evidence that they are?
Who commits the most crime in America?
Who makes up the largest group of people in America?
You don't answer a question with a question. You asked me if I could prove it. So again, answer my question. Who commits the most crime in America?
Per capita, black people.
That would be white people. Per capita means per head, which means per person. And you just asked me who makes up the majority of people in America. That's white people. So you don't know what per capita means.
I think you don't know what per
I
capita
just
means.
no, you don't. You don't know what per capita means, sir.
A way of expressing an amount divided by the total population so you can compare fairly across different size groups.
That is not what per capita means.
I literally just looked it up.
You looked up the definition. Per capita is a Latin phrase meaning by heads or for each person.
Yeah, what does the word fetus mean?
No, don't change the subject now because I just told you were wrong.
Well, we don't use the Latin for everything these days.
We do use the Latin, sir. What we not gonna do is be up here and be disingenuous. That's what we not finna do. Because I literally told you per capita meant by the heads or per person.
That's the etymology, not the definition.
You're using it incorrectly, sir.
And this is what gets me with the average white person in America. Anytime that black people speak on the realities of the long-term effects of the racial history in America, not just slavery, but Jim Crow and segregation and all of these things, they act like, oh, you're dividing us. And like slavery was so long ago and like white people aren't racist anymore and you just want people to be divided. You're spreading hate. But the thing about y'all saying that that's division, why would I want to integrate like socially with people who are not even aware of how the past affects the present and how that's affecting people today, especially considering that there are real life atrocities taking place before our very eyes in our own country at the hands of the current administration. And the black people may not be the main target, but like white people are still imparting violence on other groups of people on the basis of their nationality and skin color. Like that's still a reality, and a lot of y'all don't think that it's your place to talk about it as a white person because you're white and you're not an immigrant. So like whatever, it's not my business. But then y'all will say, y'all are dividing us, y'all are trying to keep us divided. Why would we want to be integrated with y'all? Why would we want to be in spaces with y'all? Y'all don't even care about anybody else's reality or perspective but your own. Why would we want to be integrated with y'all? Why would we want to be in any space with y'all? A lot of y'all are ideologically and intellectually dangerous to people of color. At very least, y'all are bystanders and complicit. Why would we want to, like, hello? And just because you're not raising your hand to participate in violence towards people, but you're not doing anything to stop it either, as a white person who is the beneficiary of your ancestors' violence, they did it for you. I think y'all forget that part. They did it so that you could be a bystander and be complicit and not be actively participating in liberation of all peoples. They did it for you, and you're doing exactly what they wanted you to do, sitting around watching people be brutalized and still treated poorly and allowing systemic ideals to maintain and prevail and not doing anything about it. That's on y'all to fix. It's not on us. Like, we can bring it, we can make it, we can make you aware of it, because obviously as a white person in America, you're not going to be aware of like the specific racial reality that everybody else has to deal with, but you could at least be willing to listen and learn and understand and then take action from there. And y'all aren't. It's like, you know what you know about race as a white person in America, and you leave it at that. And you just like, oh, like I pay my taxes and I put a Black Lives Matter sign up in my window and like, yeah, I'm doing my thing. Yeah, I'm doing division. Like, nobody wants to be around that.
White men standing on a podium verbally assault, drag away a young white girl who is speaking her truth. The truth that she was groomed from a young age by white men. Not one, multiple white men. She was groomed, she was abused. She's trying to share her story, and she's not only being verbally abused, she's carted off, pulled off, whilst the men in the audience, these are white patriotic men who claim that they are protecting their women and children, are mocking her. And this kind of thing gets either taken down or I'm violating some kind of community guidelines. The truth is that in this country, gender violence is on the increase. A woman is unalived in her home by her boyfriend or her husband or some man in her life every week. A child is abused and is part of the care system before we have a chance to blink. I know. I work in the care system. You are so busy focusing on this immigrant issue. We got to stop them coming in. We got to stop the boats. We got to do this. Got to do that. You can't string a sentence together. You've got criminal records as long as your arms, and you want to take the focus away from your women and children. Stop with this.
So yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm racist. I mean, if that means that I'm racist, then so be it. But me personally, I just severely do not trust white people. I don't trust white people more than I don't trust black people. I don't trust people in general, but I have a severe distrust of white people, even more than black people. Because there's always this little racial bias or racial hint behind it. That's exactly why, like, I would never date outside of my race, bro. I used to, I would never again, bro. Fuck no. Fuck no.
We talk about how ironic it is that the right demonizes people of color when the only time I feared for my life has been around a white man. I get so many hate comments like these few here. Most of the time I just write it off as immature, angry men, but the times that I've genuinely been scared that violence was going to be inflicted upon me have been white men. Not to mention that a lot of domestic violence as well as many mass shootings are committed by white men. There are going to be people in any demographic that commit crimes, but the fact that the right focuses so intensely on the single crime that a person of color commits is so dishonest. Some of the craziest things that have happened to me since I started posting is that I've gotten my account banned because white supremacists mass reported me for being underage, which I'm clearly not. They found my phone number and leaked it, so I had to change my phone number. They tried to get me fired by contacting any school in Chicago to see if I worked there. There was even an online page to see who was calling which school. I've literally been called a race traitor and told that I will be lynched along with POC. So no, people of color aren't the problem here. It is white men, and that's why I make the content I do. They prove it to me more and more every single day why it's necessary.
This country's immigration problem pales in comparison to the white male problem. If you were to take all of the white male dominance and violence out of the American equation, you would have a country that is far more peaceful than it is right now. If you think that immigration is the United States' biggest problem, you're not paying attention. The white male problem, especially when it comes to violence, especially when it comes to violence to women, is all white men. The numbers are insane. And yet it is the white man who is perpetrating all of the violence in the immigration conversation. ICE is led by white men, predominantly. Donald Trump, an old white man who is determining the consciousness of this country and swaying a lot of younger white men and older white men who were already, predators and in the belief that because of patriarchy, they're entitled to certain luxuries, a certain way of living, a certain quality of life, a certain standard that is completely made up. We took this country by force, by blood. The last thing that we should be doing is preaching about immigration when this is literally a country made of immigrants. And when you see white men trying to sway the political process, try to sway public perception and say that immigration is the problem and that's why we're in this situation, what they're really doing is misdirecting you from the real problem, which is them. I'm a white man. I can speak very clearly to the entitlements that I have had that other people don't have even now. And if we aren't addressing those problems, we are not addressing what is wrong with America. And I'm sorry if you're a white man and you feel like you're being attacked. This country was literally made by white men for white men in the 50s, maybe before that, after World War II. That the model of society we have was made by white men for white men. That needs to change now. That needs to be acknowledged now. That needs to be transformed now, which takes precedence over immigration. Is there an immigration problem in this country? Sure. But let's deal with that after we deal with the bigger problems causing the majority of violence in this country.
When people fearmonger about black and brown men, because by far the people who have been the meanest to me have been white guys. And if you don't believe me, here's an account that I woke up to this morning. Yes, that is a picture of me being strangled. Or how about this picture I was just tagged in? Yeah, that's me being thrown into a fire, apparently. And I get things like this every day, every single day of my life after starting to post online against white supremacy, which honestly isn't supremacy at all. It's white narcissism. And so that's when people are like, oh, like, would you date a white guy? I would. I mean, my high school ex-boyfriend is a white guy. He's chill. He went to Harvard. He's very, very liberal. But those types of men are few and far between. And most of the guys who I've been on dates with that are white have literally been conservative and lied about it, or they're actually incredibly misogynistic. And again, I think it's because of the cultural way that white people are raised, the way that white men are just completely given a pass with every single thing they do. And yes, this is a problem with men in general, but white men specifically is absolutely horrendous. And out of all men, white men are the ones who've made me feel unsafe time and time again, and who harass me online every single day.
I want you to listen to what I'm about to say, think about it, and then reply. White America and everyone who aspires to join it has put us wildly close to potentially destroying 3 billion plus years of evolution in like an hour. And it's largely because of their anti-blackness, white Americans specifically. It's insane that we're not holding their feet to the fire enough. We are still babying this population in a way that is absolutely ridiculous. There's a non-zero chance, in fact, it's scary how far from zero the chance is, that Trump presses a button and drops a nuclear warhead on a foreign country. And this is not a first-time occurrence because if you recall, during his first presidency, there was concern amongst high-ranking military folks that Trump would press the button. Like, really think about that. Within an hour of a genocidal decision like that, life as we know it on planet Earth could just cease. The stress and anxiety that people are feeling all over the world, the increase in prices that people are feeling in regions like Southeast Asia specifically right now, it's all a direct result of the racism of white Americans and specifically their anti-blackness. And I guarantee you every time I say anti-blackness in this video, the views are dropping directly after, because across cultures, non-black cultures within the context of the US, there's an express fatigue with hearing about anti-blackness. And the fact that people always want to stop at that juncture in the chain is why nothing ever gets fixed. Because people, oh my God. When you strip away all the bullshit, Trump ran on racism and sexism, period. On the racism front, his go-to shtick was anti-immigrant, specifically anti-Latino sentiments, right? This is a chart displaying increases and decreases in immigration to the US over the last 200 years or so. Do you see this huge spike? Do you see this huge spike? Take a second to look at what they correspond to. Okay, good. It's from this point onward that we see anti-immigrant sentiments become a staple of American culture. Look at where this spike began. This spike begins where the Civil War ends, where our ancestors were freed. No more free battery pack to power this entire economy, north and south. So without delay, the doors are open to generate more expensive labor for capital holders. Moreover, the psychological wage that comes with whiteness and aspiring to whiteness is slightly diluted at this point, because despite the fact that blackness is still subcasted, black people are no longer inherently enslaved or enslavable, legally speaking at least. Many of those European immigrants who came into the country right after the Civil War weren't even considered white, but it's over the course of the next century and through a process of indoctrination, including adopting anti-blackness, that some of them become white. That becomes the template for the American dream. It's half-baked, right? They're selling it as they're baking it. But that's the template. Move here, drop your culture, move to the suburbs, adopt consumerism, become anti-black. These are staples. These are requirements in the rubric to become white. So that's the glue holding it together as new layers are being added to this racial hierarchy cake that is America. Speaking in general terms, the white people in this country are the most ignorant of the socio-political reality of this country, and they're anti-immigrant and they're anti-black. And the immigrant population, speaking in general terms, is anti-black, right? It's layers of awareness and it's also layers of subjugation in terms of social status. I'm not talking about material, although it's often reflected in the material too. My point being, Trump runs on anti-immigrant sentiments and wins handedly with white Americans, and also sees a disturbing amount of success with Latino Americans. Understand that ideological framework and all the mechanisms within it only are there because America was trying to answer the question, what are we going to do without slavery? What are we going to do if we have to stop treating, legally speaking, black people like animals? That's the basis. And now we are on the precipice of destroying the entire planet. And at 1,000,001 junctures, during the Reconstruction period, during the Civil Rights period, shit, during the Obama years, if you want to throw that in there, white people have had the opportunity to stop being so fucking ignorant. And they have chosen not to. And now we are on the precipice of the entire planet potentially being destroyed for a myriad of reasons, but the most pressing being nuclear warfare. And so for me, on a personal level, I no longer have the capacity for the fragility of white ignorance. Final point being, now that it's been made the entire planet's problem, the entire planet needs to understand this. The entire planet needs to shame white America into being better. Period. You're fucking up the species. That's without even touching the religious component of all of this.
The greatest threat of violence against American citizens and political violence in this country comes from white men. But now Republicans are trying to disprove a fact that we know based on empirical data, that white men are the ones that have perpetuated the most heinous crimes in America.
Joy Reid, who's out there saying Joy Reid type crazy stuff, but it's becoming like a theme amongst lunatics on the left. She's saying it. Don Lemon said something similar the other day. It's white men who he says are the problem in America. And Don Lemon thinks that the white community needs to look at itself because we're producing the killers. They need a serious reality check.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
White supremacy and racism shows its face in a myriad of ways in this country. One of them being is that serial killers, mass shooters, and school shooters not only are given the benefit of the doubt and treated like humans, but in most cases, they are like glorified to be these people that deserve TV shows, that deserve specials, and in many cases, deserve to be treated well. We have Dylan Roof, who shot up a black church and then was taken to Burger King after. When I was a child, Timothy McVeigh was responsible for the Oklahoma City bombing. We have the mass shooter in Las Vegas. Several instances in my own lifetime that I firmly remember that I have always been scared of white men shooting up a place I'm at over anybody of color. There was a meme I saw yesterday that said, I walked into Walmart, I saw a white guy who looked frustrated, and I walked out. Not today. Because even if this lie that America has perpetuated, that black people are so dangerous, we're so villainous, we're so criminally forward, black people don't kill in mass. Black people do not destroy in mass. Black people have never been serial killers. We do not go around essaying children. Though that is reserved for white men. The words of the glorious off-seeing in Don Lemon, go fuck yourself.
She wants to stand in judgment about who causes violence in this country. Spare me. Get the fuck out of here.
It's crazy to me that all the lies they perpetuate about black people are just a projection really of what white people do. And white crime has been normalized and deemed less taboo than a black person committing crime. And black people commit crime, yeah. Asians commit crime, yeah. Hispanics commit crime, yeah. But who commits the most crime in America? White people. Who's the most convicted people in America? White people. Who has the most overturned convictions in America for being falsely arrested and not given fair trials? Black people. So your statistics, you can take and shove them up your ass because they're skewed to make your stereotypes about us seem real.
This is why people don't trust white people, because it is peak whiteness and colonizer behavior to demand civility for a man who denies others their humanity. That's the oppressor, and we do not need to sympathize or empathize with them. And don't get me wrong, because I long for a world where there is no violence in it. But until all of us are free, none of us are free, and violence is part of the equation because of the oppressor, not the oppressed. We need to understand that violence comes in many forms, and white people need to learn it most of all. And if none of that is enough to convince you, then how about the fact that Charlie Kirk said empathy is a made-up new age word that does harm, and that is the one directive of his that I am willing to honor.
When white men do things in the media, it's made about their political affiliation. When everybody else does it, it's made about their race. Whether it's made about being an extreme leftist or an alt-right, it's always about the political affiliation, and no indictment is all about religion, even if they cite religious and or reasons around race for what they did. That'll be an Arab, Black Lives Matter, a Muslim, anybody from another country. Oh man, the entire group is going to be indicted, but when it's a white man, it's made all about individuality. As a matter of fact, you're seen as an exception to the rule. I don't talk about it, but there's a bunch of categories in terms of criminality that white men dominate at, but they're not racially profiled as such. Despite making up only 28% of the US population, FBI data shows that white men are 55% of kidnappers, 56% of that, 58% of that, 59% of that, 62% of those, 63% of those, 68% of those, 75% of those. But we don't do any racial pathology on those bodies. The power of transcendence, privilege, and preference, huh? Education is elevation.
Black people have literally gone through a lot in the hands of white folks that this topic literally do not need to be debated at all. We don't need to debate it. When it comes to who commits the most crime or who creates the most problem in America, I feel like it is something that we should not even talk about. It is even a topic that Black people should not even be involved, because you guys have eyes to see, you have ears to hear. Why is it difficult? Why is it that every single thing, if you don't get the chance to rub it on Black people, you are literally not going to be comfortable as a palm-colored person? Why? I just want to know. And I so much love this first lady in my first clip that I roll out, where she literally have to voice out exactly what she was literally supposed to do. You know, this is things that we are going to see, and they'll be like, oh, these ladies, they are this, they are that, they are east, they are west, they are north, they are south. Do you get my point? Why in real sense, they are shying away from the truths. For crying out loud, own up to your chest for once. How can you even say that the people that are more populated and everything that is happening is coming from the Black angle, knowing fully well that your people is the problem, right from the one, right from the days of John the Baptist? They are the issue that we have literally been facing. They are the one that colonized. They started from slavery. It didn't just end here. Moved people from their roots. Stripped people of their identity. It didn't end here. The same white people came to Africa, deceived a lot of our ancestors. Gave them little things as little as a mirror, as little as a bathing soap, moved with a lot of human beings. It didn't only end here. Segregation entered. Who still created it? White people. Where they think they have a certain privilege, where they have to worship and adore their own skin, where their own schools and other things need to be more funded, and Black people underfunded. From that place, we moved to Jim Crow, where voting right and every other thing is being stripped off of Black people. And you still want to convince me that Black people are the problem you have and Black people are the ones that committed more crimes? You still want to convince me that even up to date, we still need to debate it? There are things that we literally do not need to debate. Because if we start mentioning what these white people, some of these white people has literally made a lot of Black people to go through. In fact, Black people are even supposed to get to that point where we need to tell you people as white folks, leave, because we built this place. So I don't know where those conversations is coming from, but let me know what you think in the comment section. And credits to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please do it, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share. And yes, with that being said, with no further ado, like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye now. See you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys.